cloud service, you cannot expect that single person is doing all or providing all the services. You cannot implement multiple security measures for multiple clients. If you have 100, this kind of security measures must be taken with the humans involved in the cloud service. Store all the data in a single data center because there may be a chances of natural disasters. The security level of the model that you have implemented may get reduced. Hello students. Welcome to the Cloud Computing and Big Data Analytics subject. I am Dr. Soumyashri from Department of Computer Science, Vidyashram College. In the previous sessions, I told you about the services and how does the services provided in public and private clouds. Let us have few more concepts or few more knowledge about this security purpose in public cloud and private cloud. Okay, how does the cloud vendors or the cloud providers are going to provide the security to the data? All right, here we have the concept of security in clouds, whether it is public cloud or private cloud. What are the different criteria that can be considered in case of public cloud? Because security measures are stringent or the most need of public cloud than a private cloud, because private cloud is dedicated to only a single user or a single organization, where certain security measures will be implemented by the user of the cloud himself, an organization, whereas public cloud will be available to entire community and anyone can use it from anywhere. That means the need of security is more for public cloud or data in public cloud than data that is residing in a private cloud. What are the security measures that can be taken in a public cloud is we can have different methods for securing the data in a public cloud, where you can have few of the listed measures. One is the multi-tenancy. There are certain things that can be considered for security. One is multi-tenancy. Next we have security assessment, then shared risk, staff security screening, distributed data centers, physical security, different policies, security coding or security programs, and avoiding data leakage. Okay, we have these measures that can be taken to protect data in a public cloud. Okay, we shall have a view on each of this concept. First thing is multi-tenancy. What is this multi-tenancy is all about? Multi-tenancy is being tenant to a particular service. Okay, multi-tenancy is having multiple users for the same product. Okay, what is the multi-tenancy will tell you about is, if the cloud provider or the cloud vendor builds a high risk security or high level security for a high risk client, high security for high risk client, it may get benefited for lower risk clients. It will be a beneficial method for lower risk clients. He will be benefited by that. Example here is a bandage manufacturer, okay, will be a low risk client. He doesn't have much of the data. A bandage manufacturer or cotton waste manufacturer or cotton waste management industry, or something, some industries will be there where data are not prominent or they are not high risk data. In such a case, he'll be okay with middle level of security or low level of security. He can adjust with that because he don't have much of the critical data or high risk data in his cloud. That means he can compromise with the security. Another example is a music industry, okay, which is currently storing the data of all the musics which may get pirated by someone else, attackers. That means this industry or this client is a high risk client. That means he needs to protect his data carefully than a bandage manufacturer. Is it not? He has to protect his data, or someone may steal all the music contents he has stored in the cloud. Okay, he is a high risk client who may be targeted by the attackers or can steal the data. Anyone can steal the data from a music file or music company or music industry. So they have the critical data. Now, if both the clients access to a same service of data storage with the help of a database, you cannot expect that you can provide a low security for low risk client, and it is okay with that. But the high risk client is in need of high security measures. You cannot implement multiple security measures for multiple clients. If you have 100 high risk clients and 50 low risk clients, you cannot say that for 100 clients I will provide high level security model, and for 50 clients they will be okay with the low level security, I will provide low level security. In such a case, you need to have a unified security model. Okay, this unified security model, which was concentrating on high risk clients, but this security policy for high risk clients will be benefited by the low risk clients. Without having much difficulty, they'll get high level of security by the help of high risk clients. Okay. So the cloud designer must design a security to meet the needs of both the music industry and the bandage manufacturer. Even though he doesn't need that much security, he will get higher security because of high risk client. Okay. So security must be built so that it needs the or it fulfills the need of high risk clients. The security model will not be worrying much about the low risk clients, because anyhow they are implementing a high risk security for the clients, these clients, or high level security for these clients. The low risk clients automatically will get the benefit of that security model. Okay. Another factor is a security assessment by time to time over the security model that has been implemented in the public cloud. Okay. Over time, enterprise will neglect or relax over the security measure they have taken. The security model they have implemented, and I'm sure that it is working fine. I don't bother about the security model for years, because I'm sure when I installed the model or I implemented the model, it was working very much fine. That means I don't need to bother about the security. Is this the way? No. You need to have the timely assessment of the security model to check how much it can prevent the attacker, to how much level or how much percentage it can avoid the attack. Okay. To fight with this relaxation, the cloud provider should perform regular security assessment. They have to assess the security provided for the data, maybe high risk clients or low risk clients. Okay, who is going to do this assessment? It can be done by someone who know about this security model, who know about how much data can be hacked or how much data can be attacked by an intruder. Who can do this? One method is becoming attacker. They'll only become the attacker. That means if I am the assessor of the security model, I will try to become a hacker, or I will try to become an intruder to the network or to the cloud to check whether cloud will allow me to access the data in the cloud. Okay, so they will be having certain experience in how the attack can be done and what level of security is provided by the security model. Okay, and will be able to identify the issues or the loopholes in the security measures taken by a client provider, because as the time goes, number of intruders and type of intruders will also increase. Many types of attackers may arise, many types of virus may attack. There will be an updation. If there is an updation in attackers, you need to have updated security measures also. In the previous days, putting a lock to a house was enough. Today, it's not enough. After some 30, 40 years, putting just a simple lock to the house may not be enough, because burglars are much more careful than the security measures. If you put a lock, they can break a lock. First, it was having lock and key. Then came the interlock, because if you put a lock, the burglars will know that you are not in the house, so they can steal. So then came the interlocks, which will not be visible or which will not allow the burglars to know whether someone is there in house or not. And they took the measures to break that lock also. Then we have the watchmen. Even watchmen may not be useful when the burglar is so smart. So burglar has become smart. Now our security measure must be one step ahead, at least one step ahead, to avoid the burglar from stealing our property. Is it not? So time to time we have to have the assessment of security level that was implemented in a cloud by the cloud vendor. Okay. They are not only assessing, there must be a legal report or documentation for the assessment that has been carried out on a security. Okay. Each client must be given a report or given a feedback or given a report to the client about the assessment carried out on the security. Okay, so that client will know the current state of cloud's security, how much security you have provided to the cloud will be known to the client, so that client will be assured of the security of his data time to time. Okay. The next thing, there may be a shared risk. What is this shared risk is all about? Cloud service, you cannot expect that single person is doing all or providing all the services. In turn, a single cloud vendor can be accessing service from a third party. Like, for example, A SaaS provider may use services of an IaaS, infrastructure or hardware. He may be taking hardware service from other party, or he may be providing security from a third client, or he may be providing some software from third vendor. Like if I am a provider, I may have the copy of Adobe software which was given by Adobe manufacturer or Adobe company. It is providing software and I'm having the copy of that software and I'm providing it to my clients. I am a cloud vendor. So here we need three parties. We have three persons or three services: third party, vendor and the client. There is a security implication which needs a multi-tier service provider. You have a multi-tier service provider where the one client vendor or a service vendor can have multiple services taken by some other vendors. He may have taken some other vendors, like in this example. In such a case, security must not be given only to the data in this cloud. It has to provide security to the data given by the third party also. All the data is in three locations. For all the three, they have to provide the security. Okay. Each provider shares the risk of security. They provide they have the issue of risk of attacking by the intruder for all the service providers. If I have taken service from Adobe, the attacker, if he is not able to access my cloud, he may attack the Adobe's server and he may steal the data from Adobe which was actually provided by me. Okay, the client has stored data in the cloud provided by me, but using the third party, attacker may be accessing the data. That means I have to provide multi-tier security. I need to implement multi-tier security which secures the data with me as well as with the third party vendors. So data must be secured in all the ways. Okay. The service provider, the security service provider must be aware of cloud architecture, whether the cloud vendor is providing all the service by himself or taking the help of some other service or taking some service from some other third party. He has to know about the architecture of the cloud and factor that into overall risk mitigation plan. He need to have a proper security plan to implement in multi-tier which can secure data not only in a single cloud but with all the supporting services taken by the single service provider or cloud service provider. Okay, there will be a shared risk or risk will be shared between all the service providers. Okay, the security measure must also take care of all the architecture or all the service providers involved in a single cloud. Okay. Apart from all these things, there will be staffs that are working on cloud. Okay. You may face risk by the employees of the organization itself. Staff or employees. Okay. You need to have a staff security screening. You need to have the staff security screening, like there may be regular employees as well as contract employees who may pose some risk to the data stored in a service or in a cloud. How does they can face or how can they pose a risk is they may put some external device into your server, cloud server, and they may steal the data, or they may take some documents or data out of the organization when coming out of the work. So security measures must be taken to regularly check the staff before coming into the cloud working office premises and while going out. Okay. So security measures must be done day by day basis to assure that nobody is stealing the data from the cloud in any way, cloud server from any way. Along with that, if new employees are joining the organization, there must be a background check whether the person is authenticated or person is reliable or not. The organization must take care of the background check of an employee to check whether he is a person can be relied, who will not do any kind of security breach after joining the organization. So this kind of security measures must be taken with the humans involved in the cloud service. Okay. Along with that, you need to have the distributed data centers. You cannot store all the data in a single data center because there may be a chances of natural disasters like hurricanes or tornadoes. Anything can happen. We don't know how does nature work, is it not? Nature is beyond our control. It is working on its own path. That means we need to take necessary measures to secure the data as well as the data centers where data are stored. If you store everything in one data center and if something happens or some disaster happens in that location, the client vendor will lose all the stored data by the clients. Is it not? So you need to have geographically distributed data centers. If you have data center in America, you can have another data center in Middle Asia, or you can have another data center in Australia or Japan or somewhere else in Africa or in India. You can have multiple geographically distributed data centers to provide better data security. However strong your data model may be, but it cannot tolerate, it cannot restrain with the natural disasters. Is it not? For this, we need to have disaster management and recovery possibilities. One of the best possibility that can have is having a geographically distributed data centers like our mothers will do in the home. They'll not put all the jewelries gold in a one place. What they'll do, they'll distribute over the house and protect the jewelry they have. Is it not? So this method will be implemented even by the cloud vendors by having geographically distributed data centers. If something happens in data center in America, the data may be secured in Australia or India or Middle Asia or Europe or somewhere else or in the middle of the ocean, somewhere in the ocean. So you can have more possibility of securing the data in case of natural disasters. Okay. Next thing is having certain policies. Okay. So cloud computing companies need to have response policies. How do you respond to an attack? How do you respond to a request? How do you respond to any problem that is arising in cloud service? Must have a certain policy or certain general rules that can be followed in any case of cloud service. Okay, like you can have policies related to compliance with the data, trust, how you can make the client to trust on you, making certain policies about the architecture. How is your architecture? How must be the architecture of the cloud, or policies on identifying and accessing the data, identifying the authorized user of the service, user of the cloud, as well as how he can access or how much he can access. Policies on that availability, that is how much data will be available to what kind of client. So that availability, policies on availability, policies on incident response. If any incident happens which was not happened before, unprecedented, if you have any unprecedented action or incident that happens in a cloud service, how does your cloud responds to that? So you need to have policy on that. Date protection or data protection, how do you prove the datas, and the governance, how do you overall govern the service given to a client, that must also be ensured. You need to have policies for different criteria so that you can not only providing security to the data, it is necessary to provide satisfiable service to the clients. You cannot say that I am totally securing the data and I will not anybody to access the data. When the data is most secured is when it is not accessible to anybody. If you put everything in a room and if you lock the room door, everything will be secured, is it not? Nobody can use it, but nobody can get access to it also. And not only unauthorized, even the authorized users cannot access the data. It must not happen, is it not? So you need to have certain policies on different factors so that you can provide security as well as service to the clients. Okay. Next is you need to have certain coding, must follow secure coding practices. Your security model will have code that must also be protected. Otherwise, someone can change the code in your security model. You cannot expect that, or you will not expect someone to change the coding in your security model. You need to have a security coding practice so that you can have the documentation of all the security measures you have taken and should be demonstrated to the clients. You need to show the security measures or security level you have implemented in your cloud so that the client will get assured that their data will be safe with your cloud, or if they store the data in your cloud. Okay. Next is the thing that we have to consider, how the security measures differ in public as well as in private cloud. Now, we shall have a look at how does public and private cloud can differ, where public cloud, as we have explained already, is a shared cloud where the infrastructure, data and software, database, warehouse, everything will be shared among multiple clients. Okay. Along with that, it provides hardware service and virtualization of the software and the platform so that it is, even though it is owned by the vendor, it will be shared between all the available customers or the clients and is available in internet, public internet, and presents an illusion of elastic resource. That means you can store any kind of data and any number of data in the cloud. Okay. And they'll have a subscription fee for providing or for getting a service from the cloud. Okay. Where operating cost for the cloud are based on the usage. Pay as per you use, is it not? You know about that. Users will not be having any issue with agreement of the service related agreement or contractual terms and conditions. There will be no stringent measures for contract or any agreement between the client and the vendor. Okay. Whereas in private cloud, it will be a private cloud will be a cloud owned by a single party or single organization. Okay. It provides the hardware as well as virtualization layers for the platform as well as for the software, which are owned and operated by a single user or single business or organization. In this, all the data will remain within the organization, will not be accessible outside the organization. Okay. It also provides the elastic service, finite resource, and will not be connected to public internet without proper accessibility permission. Okay. Private cloud will not be available over the public internet. Okay. These private clouds can be designed to provide certain operating system. It will not provide you the entire service. It will provide you specific operating systems, platforms, applications, and or use cases for the business. Okay. They are fixed for the private cloud. Okay. So cloud infrastructure can have a self service. That means some of the service will be provided by the vendor for himself, like storing some critical data, having security measures to secure their own data. They will be having their own data, is it not? If you are a client vendor, you will be having the data like client details, how many clients are there, what are the services provided to the client, what are the security measures taken for protection of the data. Even the cloud vendor will have the data which are critical for them and they must protect it. Okay. The cloud infrastructure has to have the provision of protecting their own data and providing certain services to themselves only, which is called as the cloud infrastructure self-service. Okay. So, self-service is possible for a certain point only. It may be public cloud or private cloud. In public cloud, self-servicing of the clients is not much available, but in private cloud, the client can have certain services provided by themselves only, along with the cloud vendor can also have some services for themselves. So, cloud infrastructure self-service suggests that self-service is possible. Infrastructure can be built for self-service. Like in a private cloud, you can create your own data server, you can create your own data base, or you can have your own networking model implemented in a cloud. Okay, you can have certain services given for us also, and I'm taking service for me also, and I'm providing service for the client. So you can have self-service. In private cloud, more number of self-service is available, whereas public cloud doesn't offer you much of the self-service. You need to take service from the vendor himself. He has to provide you all the possible services, but in private cloud, some of the services will be taken by the client himself. Like some of the security measures can be implemented by the client. Some of the database can be owned by the client himself. Some of the servers, like all these services can be provided by the client himself for using the cloud resources. Okay. There will be certain infrastructure strategy. How does the infrastructure must be? And planning the features of a cloud. Okay. There will be certain steps that can be followed for cloud computing strategy. One is assessment of current environment. Before infrastructuring or investing on infrastructure of the service, first we have to assess the current environment to determine the strengths, gaps and readiness of the market. That means strengths. What are the, who are the vendors who are already doing this kind of service, who are providing the cloud service to the clients. What are their strengths, how they are providing the service, what are their strengths, what they are lacking, or what is the drawback in their service or gaps, and readiness, how much I am ready to enter into a cloud service. So this must be studied by the vendor before entering the cloud service. Along with that, development of the value proposition. You need to have certain policies and standards for cloud computing in the enterprise. You need to have certain policies and standards to maintain a satisfiable service to the client. Along with that, you need to have strategies to compete with the other service providers, planning and road maps. You need to have in 1 year how much my cloud service must grow, how many clients I have to reach, what are the extra services I have to provide. You need to have a roadmap and the future plan of the business or the service you are providing, so that you can have all these measures to successfully install a service and provide a better service compared to your competitors. You need to have the steps that must be followed to stick in a market of cloud service. Okay. How does you perform cloud computing is, you can have certain stages in cloud computing. One is server virtualization. First you have to create the virtual image of your server that is given to the clients, like consolidation attempt, how much data you are providing to the client. Stage 2 is distributed virtualization. If you have certain copies or if you have so many platforms and software, how you are going to distribute between the clients. What will be the measure you can take if the number of clients increases? Okay, distributed virtualization, like elasticity and rapidity. That means elasticity, how much you can expand the service to how many clients and how rapidly you can respond to the market need. So this must be the second stage. Next you can go for private cloud. I mean, you can have limited number of clients and users for your service. Then you can go for hybrid cloud. You can have certain services given to only dedicated users and some service to the publics or public users. You can, in the last stage, you can go for a public cloud. You can provide your service to anybody who can access or who can have the capability to subscribe your service. Okay, these are the some of the measures that can be taken to have a successful cloud service or to become a cloud vendor. Okay, cloud service vendor. In the upcoming session, the discussion will be all about how does the cloud works as a service, what are the measures and what are the possible things that can happen over cloud as a service. Along with that, the principal technologies that are provided by the cloud vendors. Okay. Thank you.